Daniel was not the kind of man who asked for much. He was a single father, working long hours at the factory, and when he came home he only wanted one thing: time with his daughter, Emily. That night was special. It was his birthday. Emily had decorated the small kitchen with balloons, a handmade cake waited on the table, and she had drawn a picture that said, "Happy Birthday, Dad." But Daniel never made it to dinner. It started with a phone call. His friend from the neighborhood said a strange noise had been heard near the old road outside town. Some thought it was a broken truck. Others thought maybe a storm had knocked something down. Daniel, being the kind of man who always helped others before himself, decided to go check. He told Emily, "Sweetheart, I'll be right back. Save me a big slice of cake." She smiled, but her eyes looked worried. The road was dark, empty, and cold. Daniel drove his old car slowly, the headlights cutting through the fog. It was quiet, too quiet. Then suddenly he saw something. Not a car, not a truck. It was glowing faintly, half hidden in the trees. Daniel stopped, his heart pounding. He stepped out. The air smelled like metal and smoke. There, lying in the dirt, was a small ship. Its surface was cracked, sparks jumping from broken wires. Daniel froze. This wasn't from Earth. He knew it instantly, and then he heard it. A sound, soft, weak, like someone crying. Cautiously, Daniel moved closer. A door on the strange craft was open. Inside, in the dim light, he saw movement. A woman, no, not exactly human. Her skin had a pale silver glow, her eyes large and filled with pain. She was holding something close to her chest. A child. The little one was struggling to breathe, tiny hands gripping his mother's dress. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He had seen many strange things in his life, but nothing like this. An alien, a mother, a child. The woman looked up at him, fear flashing across her face. She whispered in a language he didn't know, then switched to broken English. "Please, and help us." Daniel's first thought was Emily waiting at home. If anyone found out he was here with them, what danger would it bring to his daughter? But then he looked at the child. The little one's chest was rising and falling too fast, like he was drowning in the air. A father knows the sound of a child in pain. Daniel couldn't walk away. He crouched near the woman, keeping his voice low. "What happened?" Her eyes filled with tears. We ran. They chase us. My ship, broken." She pressed the child against her. He cannot breathe this air long." Daniel didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. She was in trouble, running from someone, and her son was dying. He stood there, torn between fear and duty. The right choice was to call someone, report what he had seen. But deep inside, Daniel knew what would happen if the government, or worse, the wrong people, found them. They would take her. They would take the child, experiment, use them. He shook his head. "No, I can't let that happen." The woman looked at him with desperate eyes. "Please, only one night, hide us. Help my son." Daniel thought of his birthday cake, probably melting under the candles by now. He thought of Emily waiting by the window, asking why her father was late. And he thought of the look in this alien mother's eyes. The same look he had seen in Emily's eyes when she was sick with fever years ago. The look of a parent begging for hope. Finally, Daniel made his choice. He held out his hand. "Come with me. I'll take you somewhere safe." The woman nodded, weak but grateful. She carried the child as Daniel helped her out of the ship. The night seemed to close around them, every shadow watching, every tree whispering danger. Daniel kept looking over his shoulder, half expecting someone else to appear. They reached his car. He opened the back door, and the alien mother carefully sat down with her child. Daniel started the engine. For a moment, the headlights reflected on the metallic ship, making it glow like a dying star. Then it vanished into the night as Daniel drove away. Inside the car, the child coughed, a thin, painful sound. Emily's car seat sat empty beside him. Daniel glanced at it, then at the alien boy, and felt something strange, like fate had placed him here. The alien mother whispered, "Thank you." But Daniel didn't answer. His mind was racing. Who was chasing them? Why was this child so important? And why on his birthday night of all nights did destiny lead him to this road? As they neared his small house, Daniel gripped the wheel tighter. He knew one thing for sure. His life had just changed forever, and he had no idea what was waiting for him on the other side of this night. The drive back home felt longer than ever. Daniel's heart was racing the whole way. Every turn of the road, every pair of headlights in the distance made him grip the steering wheel tighter. He kept glancing at the rearview mirror. half expecting someone to be following. But the road was empty, silent, like the world itself was holding its breath. In the back seat, the alien mother sat with her child clutched close. She whispered something soft in her own language, rocking him gently. The boy coughed again and Daniel's chest tightened. He didn't know how to help. He wasn't a doctor. He was just a single dad who fixed machines at the factory. Yet here he was, driving home with a family from another world. When they reached his small house at the edge of town, Daniel parked quickly and shut off the lights. The kitchen window glowed faintly. Emily was still awake, waiting. He sighed. She should have been asleep, but she always stayed up until her dad came home. Tonight she was about to get a surprise she could never have imagined. Daniel opened the car door and helped the alien mother inside. Her steps were weak, her silver skin shining faintly under the porch light. She looked exhausted but alert, as if danger might appear at any second. Emily came running, her face lighting up when she saw her dad, then stopping in shock when her eyes fell on the strangers. "Dad, who are they?" she asked softly, her voice unsure. Daniel knelt to her level. "Emily, listen to me, they're friends who need our help. You must not tell anyone. Do you understand?" Emily nodded slowly, her curious eyes flicking to the alien child. He looked about her age, but his skin glowed faintly and his breathing was shallow. Emily's heart softened instantly. Without fear, she reached out her hand. The alien boy's small fingers touched hers weakly, and for a moment the room felt different. Warmer, softer, like a bond had just formed. The alien mother smiled faintly, though her eyes still held fear. "Your daughter, kind." Her English was broken, but Daniel understood. Daniel guided them into the living room. He gave the woman a blanket, and she sat on the couch holding her son close. His cough echoed in the small room, making Emily frown. "Dad, he's sick," Emily whispered. "I know," Daniel said quietly. He turned to the alien mother. "What does he need?" She hesitated, searching for words. Finally, she said, "Air. Heavy for him. Hard to breathe. He needs clean, pure air and time." She touched the boy's forehead. "He is strong. But hunters, they will not stop." The word hunters sent a chill down Daniel's spine. "Who are they?" The woman's eyes darkened. "Men, not from stars, your men. They want him, my child. He is not just child, he is hope. To them he is weapon." Daniel's stomach twisted. He had guessed she was running from someone, but this truth was heavier than he expected. A child, just a boy hunted because of what he might become. Emily looked from her father to the alien child. "We can't let anyone hurt him, Dad." Daniel rubbed his forehead, feeling the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. "Emily's, it's not that simple." But even as he said it, he knew the truth. He had already made his choice when he left the ship behind. He had brought them here. He was responsible now. The alien mother leaned forward, her eyes shining with urgency. "Please, just one night. Let us rest. Tomorrow we go." Daniel nodded slowly. "One night." Emily smiled softly, already pulling a pillow and blanket from the closet. She placed it beside the alien boy, who was now dozing off, his breathing still rough but steadier. She sat near him like a guard, whispering stories about her school, her friends, and even about the cake waiting in the kitchen. The alien boy opened his eyes once and gave the faintest smile. It was the first moment of peace they had all felt, but peace never lasted long. As the night grew deeper, Daniel stepped outside for air. He looked at the dark trees, the quiet street, the shadows stretching under the moonlight. That's when he saw it, movement, just for a second, a shape near the edge of the woods, a shadow that didn't belong. His stomach dropped. Someone was out there, watching. He went back inside quickly, locking the door. His eyes met the alien mother's, and she seemed to know without words. Her face turned pale. She clutched her son tighter. "They found us," she whispered. Daniel's hands trembled as he checked the locks again. His quiet little home had become a hiding place in a war he didn't understand. Emily looked at him confused, sensing the tension in the air. "What's wrong, Dad?" she asked. Daniel forced a smile, hiding the storm in his chest. "Nothing, sweetheart. Go sit with our guests," but in his heart he knew the truth. Their lives were no longer ordinary. Their house was no longer safe. Someone was coming, and Daniel was not sure if he was ready for what the night would bring. The house was quiet, but Daniel could not sleep. Every creak of the wooden floor, Every rustle outside the window made his chest tighten. He sat in the dark living room, staring at the alien mother and her son as they rested on the couch. Emily had fallen asleep beside them, her small hand still touching the boy's glowing fingers. It looked so innocent, so peaceful, yet danger was pressing at their door. Daniel leaned back in his chair, rubbing his face. He had questions swirling in his mind. Who were these hunters? Why did they want the child? And how far would they go to find him? He looked again at the woman. Her breathing was slow but restless, as if even in sleep she was ready to run. A sudden thud outside broke the silence. Daniel's head shot up. His heart hammered. He moved to the window and peered through the blinds. For a second, he thought he saw someone near the edge of the trees, a figure half hidden in shadow. But when he blinked, it was gone. Only the still night remained. Daniel clenched his fists. He couldn't risk it. He went to the front door and double-checked the lock, then slid a chair under the handle. His old hunting rifle hung above the fireplace. He had not touched it in years, but tonight, just seeing it gave him a grim comfort. Behind him, a soft voice spoke. "You saw them." Daniel turned. The alien mother was awake, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. She held her son tighter, though the boy slept soundly. Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes, out there watching." She lowered her head. "They never stop. They follow, always." Daniel walked closer, his voice firm but low. "Tell me the truth. Why is your son so important? Why are they chasing you?" For a long moment she said nothing. Her eyes searched his face as if deciding if he could be trusted. Finally she whispered, "My son is different. His breath can heal the air. His touch can heal the sick. He is gift. But to hunters he is weapon. If they take him, they use him to destroy. To control. To conquer." Daniel's throat went dry. A child with that kind of power, no wonder she was running. But it also meant danger would never leave them. Before he could speak, Emily stirred awake. She rubbed her eyes and looked at them. "Dad, why are you whispering?" Daniel knelt beside her. "It's nothing, sweetheart. Go back to sleep." But Emily shook her head. She looked at the alien boy and smiled gently. "He's not scary. He's just like me." She leaned closer, whispering as if sharing a secret. "I think he's my friend." The boy's eyes fluttered open. For the first time, he looked stronger. His breathing was steadier. Slowly, he reached out and touched Emily's cheek. His hand glowed faintly, and Emily giggled softly. "See? He's nice." Daniel's heart softened at the sight. In this simple moment, two children from different worlds had found each other. But even as he watched them, his mind sharpened with fear. If the hunters came, they would not care about innocence or friendship. They would take the boy. They would hurt anyone in their way. The alien mother's gaze met Daniel's, heavy with meaning. "You see now? Why I beg, why I hide." Daniel nodded, his jaw tight. "I see, and I'll protect you. But my daughter comes first. If they come for us." He trailed off, the words hanging like a blade in the air. The woman closed her eyes, a tear slipping down her silver cheek. "I understand." The room grew heavy with silence. Outside, an owl hooted and the trees swayed in the night breeze. But then another sound. A crunch of footsteps on gravel, slow, steady, closer. Daniel froze. He signaled for Emily to stay quiet, pressing a finger to his lips. He grabbed the rifle from above the fireplace and crept to the window. Through the blinds, he saw them. Not one shadow, but three. Men in dark clothing, moving carefully, scanning the yard with devices that hummed faintly. Their faces were hidden under masks. Hunters. Daniel's stomach dropped. They had found the house. He turned back quickly. The alien mother was already standing, clutching her son, her whole body trembling. She whispered one word, almost too soft to hear. "Run," but where could they run? The men were outside. The house was small. There was no escape without being seen. Emily whispered, her voice shaking. "Dad, what's happening?" Daniel knelt beside her, pulling her close. "Listen to me, Em. Stay quiet. Stay strong." The alien boy whimpered, sensing the fear in the room. His glow grew brighter, faint but noticeable, like a tiny beacon in the dark. Daniel's eyes widened. That light would give them away. The hunters outside stopped moving. One of them turned toward the house. Slowly, deliberately. Daniel's blood ran cold. The night was no longer silent. The hunters had found their trail, and the real danger was only beginning. The knock did not come. Instead, the sound was worse. Boots on gravel, the crunch of men spreading out around the house. Daniel's ears caught whispers, radios clicking, the sharp snap of a branch outside. They were moving with precision like wolves circling prey. He gripped the rifle tighter, every muscle stiff. His old hunting gun was no match for what these men carried, but holding it gave him one thing: courage. The alien mother pressed her son against her chest, her silver eyes glowing with fear. She whispered to Daniel, "They smell us. They will break in." Daniel's pulse raced. He turned to Emily. "Sweetheart, listen to me. Take the boy downstairs to the basement. Stay quiet. Don't open the door unless I call for you." Emily's lip trembled, but she nodded bravely. She took the alien boy's small hand, his glow faint in the dark, and led him toward the stairs. Before going down, she looked back at her dad. "Promise me you'll come too." Daniel forced a smile. "I'll be right behind you." The basement door closed, leaving Daniel and the alien mother in the living room. He whispered, "If they get in, you run with the kids. Don't wait for me," but she shook her head fiercely. "No, we fight together." Before Daniel could reply, the first window shattered. Glass rained onto the carpet as a masked man leapt through, his weapon glowing with a red targeting light. Daniel didn't hesitate. He fired. The shot roared through the room and the man crashed to the floor. For 1 second, silence. Then chaos. Another window broke. Then the back door slammed open. Shadows poured into the house like a flood. Red dots from their sights danced across the walls. Voices barked orders in sharp tones. "Secure the targets. Find the child." Daniel's heart pounded in his ears. He fired again, forcing 2 men to dive for cover. But the hunters weren't afraid. They were trained. They were ready. The alien mother raised her hand. A strange ripple of energy shimmered from her palm, throwing one hunter back into the wall. But the effort left her staggering, her knees weak. Daniel grabbed her arm, pulling her behind the couch for cover. Bullets ripped into the furniture, splinters flying. Daniel ducked low, clutching the rifle like it was part of his body. He knew they couldn't hold out forever. From below, a muffled cry. "Emily." Daniel's chest tightened. They were searching the house. If the hunters found the basement door, he sprang up, firing blindly to draw their attention. "Over here!" he shouted. 3 red dots swung toward him. A hunter lunged forward, slamming him against the wall. Daniel fought back with raw strength, punching hard, but the man's armor absorbed most of the blows. The hunter raised his weapon, ready to strike. And then a sudden glow. The alien boy's light burst from the cracks of the basement door. Bright, pure, almost blinding. The hunters froze for a second, their masks reflecting the strange radiance. One of them hissed, "There!" The child. "He's here." Daniel's stomach dropped. The glow was giving them away. The alien mother's face went pale. No, he cannot control it yet. The hunters charged toward the basement. Daniel pushed free from the man holding him and slammed his shoulder into another attacker. Pain shot through his arm, but he didn't stop. "Go!" he roared at the alien mother. "Protect them." She ran, her body glowing faintly as she unleashed another wave of energy, knocking 2 hunters off their feet. But there were too many. The basement door rattled as hands tried to tear it open. Emily screamed inside. Daniel fired again, the rifle kicking hard against his shoulder. 1 hunter fell, but the others advanced, weapons raised. Daniel backed toward the basement, his heart hammering. He couldn't let them through. "Stay away from my daughter," he shouted, pulling the trigger again. Click, empty. The rifle was out of bullets. The lead hunter stepped forward, his mask hiding any sign of mercy. He lifted a sleek weapon that hummed with deadly energy. The red light landed squarely on Daniel's chest. For a moment, everything slowed. Daniel's breath caught. His thoughts flashed to Emily's smile, to the cake still waiting in the kitchen, to the choice he made on that lonely road. Then the alien boy screamed. It wasn't the scream of a child. It was a sound that shook the air itself. The light around him flared brighter, bursting through the basement door like sunlight through cracks. The hunters stumbled, covering their eyes. The walls trembled. The air grew heavy with strange energy. Daniel stared in shock. The boy's glow was no longer weak. It was powerful, alive, and it filled the house like a storm. The hunters shouted in panic, "Contain him now!" But it was too late. The boy's power had awakened, and nothing in the house would ever be the same again. The house shook with light and sound. The alien boy's scream carried through every wall, rattling the windows. His glow filled the room like a storm of fireflies, blinding and beautiful. The hunters staggered back, shields of black glass over their masks, sparking and cracking under the force of it. Daniel shielded his eyes, heart hammering. He had seen machines explode, storms tear down power lines, but nothing like this. The child wasn't just glowing, he was radiating something alive. The air itself felt charged, heavy, vibrating with power. And then, silence. The boy's light dimmed suddenly, leaving only the soft hum of broken lamps and the ringing of ears. He fell weakly into Emily's arms, his body trembling. Emily hugged him tightly, whispering, "It's okay. You're safe." The hunters recovered quickly. They were trained for chaos. One barked into his radio, "Target located." "Contain immediately." Daniel's blood went cold. He knew they couldn't hold the house. Not anymore. He grabbed the alien mother's arm. "We can't stay. We have to run, now." She nodded, her face pale but determined. She lifted her son from Emily's arms, clutching him close. Daniel ran to the back door, pushing it open. The night air rushed in, cold, sharp, and full of danger. The woods stretched behind the house, dark and endless. Daniel knew them well. He used to take Emily hiking there. Tonight they would be more than trees, they would be their only shield. "Go," he whispered harshly. The alien mother ran first, her glowing skin a faint beacon. Emily followed, holding Daniel's hand tightly. Daniel ran last, keeping the rifle gripped like a club. Behind them, shouts filled the house. Flashlights cut through broken windows. The hunters were coming, the woods swallowed them. Branches scratched their arms. Leaves rustled under hurried steps, and the night echoed with distant dogs barking. Every sound seemed louder, sharper. Emily panted, "Dad, they're right behind us." "I know, Em. Keep running." The alien boy coughed in his mother's arms, his glow flickering weakly. The mother's face twisted with fear. "He cannot run far. He is too weak." Daniel scanned the trees, his mind racing. They needed a place to hide. A cave, a hollow log, anything. Then he remembered. The old storm shelter, half buried in the ground not far from here. Few people even knew it existed. "This way," he whispered, pulling Emily toward the left path. Branches snapped behind them. Red flashlight beams swept through the trees. The hunters were close. Too close. Suddenly, one of them appeared ahead, blocking their path. A tall figure, his weapon raised, the red laser sight landing on Daniel's chest again. Daniel didn't think. He lunged forward, swinging the empty rifle like a bat. It cracked against the hunter's mask, shattering the glass. The man fell back with a grunt. Daniel grabbed Emily's hand again, pulling her forward. The alien mother's voice trembled. "More are coming." Daniel could hear them, the crunch of boots, the mechanical hum of weapons powering up. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he kept moving. Finally, they reached it. The old storm shelter. A metal hatch half hidden under vines and leaves. Daniel yanked it open, the rusty hinges screaming in protest. "Inside!" he whispered. The alien mother slipped in first with her son. Emily followed, her eyes wide with fear. Daniel climbed down last, pulling the hatch shut above him just as beams of light swept over the clearing. Darkness swallowed them. The shelter smelled of earth and rust, its walls damp and cold. Daniel pressed his ear against the hatch. He could hear the hunters outside, their voices low and sharp. They came through here. Search the woods. Spread out. For now, they hadn't found the hatch. Emily clung to Daniel's arm, her voice trembling. "Dad, will they find us?" Daniel kissed the top of her head. "Not if we stay quiet." In the corner, the alien boy stirred. His glow flickered faintly, casting soft light on the shelter's walls. He looked at Emily with tired eyes, then reached out his small hand. Emily took it without hesitation. Daniel watched them, his heart heavy and proud. His daughter was brave. Braver than he ever imagined, the alien mother whispered. "You risk everything. For us?" Daniel shook his head. "I couldn't leave you. Not with them." She looked at him for a long moment, her eyes soft despite the fear. "You are different. Many of your kind would sell us. But you protect." Daniel didn't answer. His thoughts were on the footsteps above, the hunters sweeping the woods. He knew they wouldn't stop tonight. They would keep searching until they found what they wanted. He tightened his grip on the rifle, whispering to himself, "If they come down here, I'll fight until my last breath." The alien boy's glow brightened faintly, as if he understood. He pressed his hand against the wall of the shelter. The damp air shifted slightly. Cleaner, lighter, easier to breathe. Emily inhaled deeply and smiled. Daniel's eyes widened. The boy wasn't just surviving. Even here in the dark, he was changing the world around him. Above, the hunters moved deeper into the woods, their voices fading into the distance. For now, they were safe. But Daniel knew this was only the beginning. The hunters would return, stronger, smarter, and when they did, he and his daughter would be standing in the middle of a war they never asked for. The storm shelter was dark and heavy with silence. Daniel sat with his back against the cold wall, the old rifle across his knees. Every so often he lifted his head, listening for footsteps above. For now, the hunters had moved deeper into the woods, but Daniel knew they would return. They always returned. Emily leaned against him, her small hand resting on his arm. Across from them, the alien mother cradled her son, whispering words in her own language. The boy's glow flickered faintly, no longer wild and dangerous, but soft like a lantern burning low. Daniel's chest ached as he watched them. A mother fighting for her child, a child carrying power too great for his years. He thought of Emily, how small she once was in his arms, how helpless. He understood the alien mother's eyes, the same fear, the same love. Finally, Daniel broke the silence. "We can't keep running. Not like this. They'll hunt you forever." The alien mother looked up, her silver eyes shining even in the dark. "Then I leave alone. They want me, my son." "Not you." Daniel shook his head sharply. "No, if you go alone, they'll take you, and him. You won't last a night without help." Her jaw tightened. "And if I stay? They take your daughter." "They take you. I cannot." "Let your family die because of mine." Daniel looked at Emily, sleeping now with her head against his shoulder. He thought of the birthday cake still sitting on their kitchen table untouched. He thought of his wife, gone for years now, and the promise he made to always protect their little girl. He swallowed hard. "My choice is simple. I don't let kids get taken. Not mine. Not yours." The alien mother's eyes softened, filled with something like respect and sorrow. "You are only man." "They are many." Daniel gave a humorless laugh. "Maybe, but I'm stubborn." Before she could answer, the ground above them trembled. Boots. Voices. The hunters were back. Emily stirred, whispering, "Dad?" Daniel pressed a finger to his lips. "Shh, quiet." The boy's glow brightened faintly, reacting to the tension. The mother hushed him, rocking him close, but it was too late. Outside, the hunters' voices sharpened. "Light! Below ground! Check the shelter!" Daniel's stomach dropped. They had been found. The hatch above rattled as hands tried to force it open. The old hinges groaned. Emily gasped, clutching Daniel's arm. The alien mother stood, her face fierce. "I fight! Alone! You stay with your daughter!" Daniel grabbed her wrist. "No, you won't survive them all. We fight together." Her eyes searched his as if she couldn't believe he meant it, but then she nodded once, sharp and determined. The hatch screeched open. Blinding flashlights stabbed into the dark. Hunters dropped down one by one, weapons raised. Daniel lifted the rifle like a club, swinging hard at the first man to land. The hunter crashed into the dirt, groaning. Another raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the alien mother released a surge of energy. A wave of shimmering force slammed into the men, throwing them back against the wall, but the effort cost her. She staggered, nearly falling. Daniel caught her by the arm, pulling her back up. "Stay with me," the boy cried out, his glow growing brighter, shaking the walls of the shelter. Emily hugged him tight, whispering, "It's okay, don't be scared." But it wasn't fear in the boy's eyes. It was anger. His glow surged into a burning light that filled the shelter, cracking the ceiling, sending sparks into the air. The hunters shouted, shielding their eyes. Daniel shouted over the chaos, "He'll bring the whole place down." The mother's eyes widened in horror. He cannot control it. If he breaks, everything burns. Daniel faced a terrible choice. If the boy unleashed his full power, they might all die. Hunters, mother, Emily, and him. But if Daniel stopped him, if he forced them to hide again, the hunters would never stop chasing. His chest tightened. He had to decide, protect his daughter by running forever, or stand here tonight and fight a war he might not win. He looked at Emily, her brave little arms around the glowing boy, whispering comfort, even as the shelter shook around them. She trusted him to make the right choice. Daniel clenched his jaw. "No more running." He turned to the alien mother. "Help me." "We're ending this." Her face twisted with fear and hope. She placed her glowing hand over his chest. "Then tonight, we stand together." The hunters advanced again, shouting orders, weapons humming with deadly power. Daniel raised the rifle. The alien mother lifted her hand. The boy's glow blazed brighter than ever, filling the shelter with blinding white light. And together they prepared to fight, not just for survival, but for something greater. For family. For freedom. For the choice no one could take from them. The shelter shook as if the earth itself was waking. The boy's glow spread across every wall, flooding the dark space with a light that felt alive. The hunters staggered back, their masks cracking under the force of it. Their weapons hummed uselessly, lights flickering as if the boy's power was draining their machines. Daniel stood tall in the blinding glow, shielding Emily behind him. His old rifle felt like nothing in his hands compared to the storm around them. He had never felt so small and yet so certain. Tonight he would not run. The alien mother raised her arm, her own glow joining her son's. Together their light pulsed, filling the shelter with a strange warmth. The hunters tried to push forward, shouting into radios for backup. But each step closer was harder. It was as if the very air resisted them. Daniel saw his chance. He charged at the closest hunter, slamming the butt of the rifle into his chest. The man fell back stunned. Another lunged forward, but Daniel wrestled him down, his fists fueled by raw determination. He wasn't a soldier, he wasn't trained, but he was a father. And that gave him strength greater than fear. The boy cried out again. But this time the sound wasn't pain, it was power. His glow surged into a wave that ripped through the hunters. Their weapons shorted out, sparks flying. One by one they stumbled, blinded, choking on air that seemed to press against their lungs. "Dad!" Emily shouted, clutching the boy. "He's protecting us." Daniel looked around in awe. The hunters, so strong, so merciless, were now crawling on their knees, unable to stand against the storm of light. The boy's power wasn't just destruction. It was defense, a shield born from something deeper. The alien mother whispered, tears in her glowing eyes. "He chooses. Not to kill, but to save." And then silence. The light faded, leaving only dim lantern glow around the boy. The hunters lay scattered, unconscious, their weapons dead. Smoke rose from the cracked walls of the shelter, but it still stood. Daniel panted, sweat dripping down his face. His body ached, his hands raw, but his heart pounded with relief. They were alive. Emily hugged the boy tightly, smiling through her tears. "See, I told you, you're not scary. You're my friend." The boy looked at her, weak but smiling. His glow flickered softly like a candle ready to rest. Daniel turned to the alien mother. She looked exhausted, her silver skin dim, but her eyes burned with gratitude. "You saved us," she whispered. Daniel shook his head. "No, we saved each other." For a moment there was peace. But Daniel knew peace would not last. The hunters would send more, stronger, smarter. Tonight was only the beginning. He sat down heavily, pulling Emily into his arms. She was still trembling, but she looked up at him with brave eyes. "Dad, what happens now?" Daniel's chest tightened. He wanted to tell her it was over, that everything would be fine. But he couldn't lie. He stroked her hair gently. "Now we keep fighting. We protect them. We protect each other." The alien mother placed her hand over his. "With you, maybe we can survive." "Maybe more than survive." She paused, her voice soft. "Maybe we can live." Daniel looked at her, then at the boy, then at Emily. Two families, brought together by fate, now bound by something stronger than blood. He stood slowly, gripping the rifle one last time before laying it against the wall. Weapons alone wouldn't win this fight. What they needed was trust, unity, hope. He took a deep breath. "You're not running anymore. Not alone. If they want you, they'll have to go through me." The alien mother's eyes glistened. "Then we stand as one." The boy lifted his small hand, glowing faintly, and touched Daniel's chest. The air around them shifted, cleaner, lighter, warmer. Daniel felt the weight in his heart ease. For the first time, he believed this wasn't just survival. This was the beginning of something new. Above them, dawn broke. Light filtered through the cracks in the shelter, painting the dirt walls in gold. The night of fear had ended. A new day had begun. Daniel held Emily close as they climbed out of the shelter, the alien mother and child following. The forest stretched before them, alive with morning birdsong. The hunters lay behind, defeated, their shadows shrinking in the growing light. For Daniel, it was clear. His birthday dinner, the cake, the candles, all of it was gone. But what he had gained tonight was far greater. He had chosen not just to protect his daughter, but to protect a future that could change the world. Emily slipped her hand into his, her voice soft but steady. "We'll be okay, won't we, Dad?" Daniel squeezed her hand. "As long as we stand together, Em, yes, we'll be okay." The alien mother stepped beside them, her son glowing faintly in her arms. She looked at Daniel, her voice carrying both sorrow and hope. "This is not end. This is only beginning." Daniel nodded, his eyes fixed on the rising sun. "Then let's begin." And together, father, daughter, alien mother, and child, they walked into the dawn of a new life.